Oh,
Hey, what's up?
this
What's
is
up?
what happens when two ENFPs are on a chat room. We're just like, yes, we got this, and then I'm like, no,
But
screw
see,
it.
we're two Asian ENFPs.
We are two Asian ENFPs. We're just like, yeah.
Seriously, dude. You know how few fucking Asian ENFP friends I've ever had? Oh,
Really?
no.
I would say
I can
you're the
name like
first one for me. So,
I can name like two or three, and like I'm on the West Coast here in America. It's like Asian Af. Ugh.
oh my gosh. No, it's. I'm trying to. I love it because it's like this is what any looks like when we're trying like to just start. We're like, yeah. Actually, I did have a flow going. I
Yeah,
think
you have an
because
agenda of things to
I
talk
did
about.
have a little bit of an agenda. It's all mine though. I don't really have. By the way, my lighting is terrible. I'm just trying to figure out how this is working. You get like the wonderful bright light here, and I'm just like, oh, watch me
Watch
dark.
this anyway. I think I'm not sure actually. It's okay.
This is great because I'm like, I mean, granted, I'm like 9 p.m. right now. I mean, at night I'm like midnight, skin color wise. So who knows how
All right.
that
Well, let's
works?
introduce ourselves, I guess.
Oh
For
well, yeah, like in
it.
So, welcome to everybody to a good conversation because this is going to be very fun. My name is Nate Rasa, and I'm with my very good psychic sister.
Yeah, the Peace Soul Sister.
Yes.
And
And
wait,
so,
yeah,
Crystal, introduce yourself.
Crystal. I'm Crystal Duan. I'm also an ENFP. I don't make a lot of videos about type for my own channel, but I do it a lot with my good friend Meghan Levota, an ENFJ, and occasionally with other various friends. But, well, this is like probably the first video I've made without Megan, but
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. That's
Nate, you're so
crazy.
special.
Well, yeah, that's right. Actually, this is kind of I mean, welcome to have you as a guest. Maybe if this is how we're
Yeah,
gonna do
seriously.
this.
Yeah, Nate and I met on Twitter through Megan because
Yeah.
Megan was like, Crystal, there's this ENFP who's also like super intellectual. He's also Asian. And I was like, oh, I gotta check this out. So after like maybe 10 minutes of stalking Nate, I decided to strong arm him to becoming my friend. So I messaged him, I think in all caps, being like, yo, I too am an Asian ENFP who has a lot of extroverted thinking. And he was like, oh, question mark, I see. And I was like, perfect response. So
Yeah.
how we
Because
got
it's
to
always doubt first, right? Like, oh, a smart one. There's not a lot of us, Crystal.
Dude!
Um,
But today we are here to talk about how us both being Asian American, or no, well, fuck, you're Asian Canadian, whatever.
I'm Asian
Asian,
Canadian. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's our Asian in a foreign
Asian
country.
North American, Asian, whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how that has influenced our upbringing and makes us disdain many ANFP stereotypes and possibly
Oh,
break.
that's right. Yeah. Uh, would
I
you
think
like
Nate
to
breaks more ENFP stereotypes than me, though, to be honest.
me? What I would think you did as
You know,
well.
like I do the whole like,
Crystal, this is gonna be us, like, because with doing these talk, we just always just gush. Like for everybody else that we meet, we're like super tough. We're like, I don't
oh my
care,
god,
you can
right?
just
We're just
die.
like,
And then you
stop.
talk to
Dude,
yeah,
they could like pee on a tree and be like, oh my god, he's so perfect. Literally.
and then everybody else is just like, die, burn. I
Yeah,
don't
like, no,
care.
like, oh, that
So
person's
so
so
tough to these
dumb, fuck.
people. I remember I was literally talking to a type 2 ENFP before, and literally we would go, shut up, I hate you to like everybody in the voice chat. And like the minute everybody leaves, because we've like pushed them all out, I'm like, oh, you're so cute. Oh, yo, you're so cute.
Oh my god. Yeah, so Nate is a type 7. What's your SP?
I'm SPSO.
Okay, yeah. I'm like a type 4. I think I'm in SXSO or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so basically, Nate has really developed introverted sensing and extroverted
Oh
thinking.
my gosh.
I am
Develop
not like
introvert.
one of those.
Before, well, actually, let's how about we like describe our individual, I guess, being raised like
Okay,
by
yeah, yeah,
Asian parents.
yeah.
What's your mom's type actually? Like,
So my mother is an ESFJ. Fuck, I actually don't know. She's like a type 6 or
oh yeah, that's me too. No.
I think she's like a type 6, but I think she also has like some elements of like type 1 or I don't even know, man.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
definitely she has SP somewhere in there. So she's like a really tough ESFJ who's really thinky and
Oh
like
yeah.
doesn't actually want to accept that extroverted thinking exists. So yeah, we had an interesting dynamic growing up because she did her best to raise an ENFP child despite like not understanding what the fuck I was talking about half the time.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
happens. And then my dad is an ESFP,
Oh
definitely a
wow.
type 7, like type 7 all the way. And I think his chart type is like 792 or something like that.
Oh
Because
wow. That's an interesting combination.
he's
Yeah.
adorable and incredibly naive sometimes, but also smart enough to have made it out of the poorest parts of China to become
Mm.
an engineer in the suburbs of Oregon and one of the richest parts of the country. So, what can you do? Luck is great, as I tell my
Mm-hmm.
mom all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She hates that because she's like, you don't do the stable traditional thing, you will never be enough, as they say. So, yeah, with that upbringing, it's like Nate, and I don't know if a lot of people who've seen me in other videos have heard this, but like the reason I knew I was an ENFP from like the very start, before like, even reading about like significantly about the types, I read about the functions and I knew I was an ENFP because I didn't have introverted thinking. That was the first thing I identified.
Oh.
Before I knew what I was, I'd already in my life known what I wasn't. So for me,
It's like process of elimination type of thing.
yeah, like deductive reasoning, which is slightly NETE, but like, yeah, for me, I just knew like my mom had been getting on me for not having that my entire life. So then from there,
Oh.
I figured out that I was an ESFP or ENFP based on my blind spot. I was like, I'm also not sensory, so yeah, ENFP must be it.
Hmm.
And I'd taken the test before and got an ENFP, but like I had suspected it was a sham when everyone else also came out as an ENFP,
Oh
and
yeah.
I like was like I don't have like that much, like ability to type at that point, but I knew that some of these people were really fucking different than me, and I was like, meh, no, you're not an ENFP too. So yeah, then when I found out I was a real ENFP, I was like, okay, so like I'm emotional, I'm intuitive, and now I gotta figure out how to like, not be that way so much. And then I realized over
It's
time,
like here's your like mess. It's like great. Now we know that.
yeah, well, because the first thing I thought was, well, that's why I don't fit into fucking Asian society. So then my mission was to become less that way. Then I realized that thinkers and censors weren't going to teach me that well. It was going to have to be fellow NFs that like had cracked the code to develop.
Mm.
And that was when I found Nate.
Crack the code, apparently.
Crack the code to becoming a better person.
Oh my gosh.
Tell us about your life.
Okay, well, taking from that. So my parents are, my mom's an ISFJ6, also with a 1 fix. My dad is an ISTJ9. So all my life I've grown up having introverted sensing as the influence. That face, I just see like the pain, the trauma.
Oh my
um,
god, yes, dude. I
yeah,
swear,
it's
so many AFPs have like censor parents, scars, origin
right.
stories.
Don't we all have like weird SI trauma? And well, especially with parents, Asian parents, and like because like there are rules in Asian culture.
Yes.
Like there's
Oh my
social
god.
norms, social rules that like you have to adhere to. Like you just can't. And you're raised. At least I was raised. I was raised to never have pride.
Oh my god.
So I was raised to like, pride is the bane of your existence, always be humble, which is like, when you look at it from any perspective, it's kind of a good idea, if you pursued life being
Yeah,
humble
but
first.
the implementation of it was very bad.
Yeah, because, they went to the extreme. They're like, no pride at all. And it was unspoken though, but it was definitely something because every time we would talk and I would raise my voice, my mom would be like, humility,
Yeah.
be like,
Okay.
your tone.
Yeah. So like I saw this movie recently, an advanced screening that's coming out soon. It's called The Farewell. And it has Aquafina from Crazy Rich Asians, if you
Oh,
remember her.
wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like this is an indie movie. This is not a comedy. Like,
Oh,
so the premise of the movie is like this Chinese American girl, Aquafina,
okay.
she finds out her grandma's dying of cancer. No
Okay.
spoilers. Like that's the premise. But no one in the family wants to let her know. So they all like fake like a wedding. Basically.
Oh.
Like they have one of their cousins get married early. So they all have an excuse to go to China to see her before she dies in a couple months. She has no idea. So the movie is like, I mean, like the movie isn't about her having this ongoing debate necessarily, because it's like kind of like set in stone. Like the family decided we're not going to fucking tell her, and she has to just kind of watch it happen. So the whole movie is her dealing with this fallout and stuff. But okay, like the premise though, I think is interesting because throughout the movie, a lot of the people because, well, I don't actually know what the girl's type is necessarily. Like, she's not necessarily an NFP, maybe she is. But it just reminded me of the clash between, like, this established tradition and, like, this really, like, SJ almost kind of, like, thing where it's, like, they're like, we don't want to, like, make her suffer or make her worry. We're not going to disturb her reality, you know, like, blah, blah, blah. It's our duty to take on the burden of shouldering the pain of this condition instead of having her deal with it. And they were talking about how you want to tell her because you want to absolve yourself of guilt or something.
Yeah.
Like, watching this movie, like, that idea just, like, stuck out to me so much because I was like, yeah, like, if I was, like, fucking in that situation, I would fucking tell her. Like, you know, like, it's, like, the principle of the truth, the emotional truth of what's going on.
Yeah, plus I wouldn't, like, even for me, like, I wouldn't want to delay the pain because it's like, experience it now so you can save yourself the trouble later. Like, I don't understand the concept of never telling a person till, like, after they've, let's say, hypothetically have died, and then you have to deal with, I guess, the guilt of the afterwards, and you couldn't even say anything. Like, you just, filled with regret. It's kind of a weird way to tackle it.
While talking to my mom and actually observing my ISFJ roommate who's going through some hardship, even though she's very intuitive, like, as a person, not, like, in the, you know. I think introverted sensing sometimes has a hard time dealing with the reality in the sense of, like, the intuitive reality. Because when traumatic things happen to you like that, like losing someone or whatever, that's, like, a very spiritual event that I feel like it's very hard for them to move forward from. Like, my SFJ roommate has been having flashbacks to, like, the situation that happened and can't, like, literally even get on with her day because that's how stuck she is in, like, the moment / past, right? So it's like really interesting. I think that, yeah, like, the generational trauma, I think, of, like, parents immigrating here and they don't have good introverted intuition. They don't understand how things have changed. All they can do is kind of try to replicate whatever remnants they have from their other life, piece it together, pass on. And, like, they pass on a lot of that, like, you know, trauma to us, whether it literally be physically, I believe, or just our programming is, like, taught to, like, you know, be afraid of the new. They thought, okay, like, I paid my dues. I fucking got to another physical new location. Isn't that enough? They don't realize that spiritually adapting is, like, probably, like, a lifelong process. They don't realize the consequences.
It's like they're going through the moment, you know? Like, they're just taking everything moment by moment, like, snapshot by snapshot. Then again, how SI is, like, a snapshot from NE. So they'll take a moment and then they won't really, like,
they don't know how to string it together.
Yes, they don't really know how to string it. Like, my mom, when my grandmother died, like, we all knew it was gonna happen because all her organs were failing and, like, everything was going down. Of course, she flew back to the mother country to, like, make that happen. But then when she got back, there would be moments where she would, like, wake up at 2 a.m. and, like, be crying on the couch, like, in the living room. And I'd, like, wake up, I'd be like, oh.
Like, so my SFJ roommate too. Like,
it's like they have this profound moment where they're forced to deal with that, what you said, like, intuitive reality. Like, this is done and this is permanent. Like, they can't just accept the change right away because it is hard. Like, let's put it this way. It is hard. Granted, like, as a 7, I don't really care about that kind of pain. I just choose to, like, flee away. But for that moment when my mom was having that, like, she was working through her grief, I, like, sat beside her and I was like, looks like you need a hug. Looks like you need a hug.
So, like, I don't want to, like, say too much necessarily, but, like, for my SFJ roommate, like, she went through a breakup where she was physically living with the person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, so he got lots of his stuff yesterday from her house, and like, for her, she was like breaking down crying, but, like, she would only be able to, like, repeat what she knew, which was, like, I knew I, like, wanted to love him. That's all I wanted. She couldn't figure out what he was thinking.
Because to them, there isn't a future. It's like the shut off of the NE. Like, the NE can only bring up the bad stuff.
Yeah, she literally was like, I don't know how I'm gonna move on from here. And I actually physically could feel that she had no clue, right? Like,
yeah, I agree.
She was just like, why does society say it's so bad to have a partner? Like, her TI and her, like, I were just, like, listening to the societal messaging and conditioning, just being confused by it, right? Because especially because she's, like, a more spiritual person who's, like, overcome, like, a lot in her life, like, traumatic events, and tried to, like, open her mind. I think not having an NI foundation, though, is like really fucking hard when you're trying to like grow in that regard. And she's like,
Exactly, yeah. Because
like
you're
she
not seeing the pathway. Like, you don't see that this is something that you can move on from it. And it's just a cycle that you just kind of keep
I
going.
can't put too much intuition at once or she gets overwhelmed. Like it's really like she literally like when she's having a breakdown, she wants someone to just listen and not say anything, which is like the opposite of what NFJs want to do at times. Like they want me to like muse with them about the idea.
Mm-hmm.
When you're an SFJ and you're just in pain, you can't feel your NE or your NI. You're just
Yep.
like, shit, all I feel is pain. Like she's like the kind of, this is weird though, and I need to make another video about SI as I've learned through her, but like she can physically feel like things around her. Like she taught me how to like wash a dish properly because she can like it's like she feels like the physicality of everything around her. She like notices it. It's like weird. Like when her ex took back his things, she like felt those things leaving her space was what she felt.
They're
And
so
also,
connected to reality. Like, they're so tied in. It's like, that's why they probably have such a hard time with intuition, because the tether to reality is so strong. I mean, versus us, right, as NFPs, our tether to reality is like a string, which is really sad.
Yes, exactly. He like left a mirror here, and she was like, "Oh, I wanted to keep that to like have something of him, but I should let it go." And I was like, "Bitch, I like to forget that was his mirror." You know, like
Oh,
I just
yeah.
wouldn't remember. But she like can remember. She's like, "I want to rearrange the furniture because I can physically still feel the memory of him here." And I'm like, I like to.
Yeah, I mean, I could relate to some extent with that, because especially when I need to enact some sort of change in my life, I have to be like, you know what? I need to rearrange my entire room because I don't feel it.
Yes, like the SI energy, like
Yeah, that's like energy kicks in. Like but it
change.
doesn't happen often. Like usually I can just tune out and just not really care.
NJ going through, or I feel like some kind of person with better NI or something would throw out all their furniture or something, right? Not try to like remix it and salvage it, but like she's like very caring about her things. Like it's just fucking weird to realize because like the way that
to observe, right? To like observe in real time.
Hey, I don't know how else to say this, but the way she broke down was so real. Like she physically had a visceral reaction to where she was like, my stomach hurts and like my head, I need to like bang it against the wall because there's so much here. There's pain. And I'm like, when I experience pain, it's like a cognition, like, right? Like it's like, I'm in pain. Oh, I can't move. As opposed to, it hurts here. It hurts here. Like it comes to emotional things. I'm just like, whoa, I wonder what that's like. I don't know when the last time this thing felt emotional.
It's funny because it's like when that happens, I instantly get really pissed off and I try to find something to stop the pain right away. It's like, oh, it's painful. Like I get angry.
Yes, I like sit there and I start like ripping a little bit, but I don't like do anything. Like,
I have to. I can't stick with it for too long.
I mean, my face, but like not do anything.
Oh my god! He's like, it's here. No. Oh, by the way, which reminds me, going back to our parental experiences, without going too dark into our traumas, okay? Well, I don't know. Maybe you're gonna go.
I don't know, man. I'm a type 4, so
I don't know. We'll see how we go with this.
Don't feel any pressure to like also have.
Don't be. No, it's funny because like I can deliver it. It's just I won't be able to deliver it in such a genuine way because I will always kind of like reframe it to like
our like defense mechanisms to say dark things with a sense of irony.
Exactly. We're just like, oh, by the way, so like I was kicked out before, and like, but I kicked myself out because I did.
Like laughing about the shit. Okay.
Exactly. And so, anyways, no, like for example, like with my parents, like growing up, I had this weird. I mean, I never knew necessarily. I didn't have the same history as you did about the ENFP situation. I just knew that I didn't think like they did. I didn't think like any of my friends did. Actually, I was the only ENFP. I think I still am in like my vicinity.
Oh my god! Wow, you're lucky, bitch. Because
like all of them are censors, right? They're all conservative censors. So I don't really have
NPPs, which makes it worse.
Oh, I finally found one. I got to type one guy, and he's actually like one INTP. But then it's like just one, one of like many. I'm like lost in this. But anyway, like growing up like this and not having to understand like where my thoughts or what my thoughts are trying to do, I felt behind like with everybody because like my mom would be like, oh, just get up and like clean your room. What's so hard about it? But I'm like thinking the possibilities of what else I could do with my room, and like, and I'm like lost. And I'm like, ooh.
The sea of intuition. You're swimming. Your mom's like, hey, come out.
Exactly. And what's crazy is I'm the loudest person in the house because I'm the only extrovert in the house. So it's like
Oh, I wish that was the case here.
it's right. But I don't know. I feel like I would have liked another extrovert just to see how it is because it's like I always had to fight my parents when it came to
Fighting your
energy.
parents.
I did. I used to always like I mean I knew that when I was younger I was useless and like worthless. So I didn't really have like
Dude, so relate. I so relate.
right? Like you've been told that you're like, no, you're nothing yet. You're just a child.
I know, I'm just like, yeah.
And so, but then what's funny is that because we're intuitives, I don't know, like when people like tell us things like, oh, enjoy your childhood while you still can. And I'm like, no, can I be a teenager now? Like, can I have a little bit more independence? Can I be an adult now? Like when people be like, I don't want to be 30. I'm like, no, yes, please.
Like
Okay. I have people that like weird with me. I need to get that out of me.
24 is my favorite age. Like, not gonna lie, I didn't really like it.
Yes. I don't mind this age. This age is it's a nice age, actually.
It's like the first age I've actually felt like my age in a while. Like
Oh,
I
that's an
felt
interesting.
that when I was 16, and then after that, every age felt like it didn't fit all the way.
I was so okay since it kicked in. Like I was angry in my teenage years because I was just not getting what I wanted. Because everybody was just like, "Oh, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that." I still had a curfew, by the way. I fought that. Like I still know some people who
Mom
had curfews.
was also like that. She was just like, "Why you hang out with so many people? You don't need that many friends."
Ah, ah! The reaction that comes out of me. No, it was right? Like it was just oh what's great what's funny though is like my dad had like here's the thing he was a rice farmer back in the Philippines
Oh, that's
and
form his worldview.
yeah and so he yeah exactly he was like so poor and the thing is I feel bad but then like it reframed his entire worldview where that he never wanted me to experience pain the way he did or hardships and I'm like yes that's fine but like you do know that part of being an adult is experiencing growth, which
Is that
involves
how you say
pain.
adult in Canada? Adult?
Adult.
Is that
Yeah, I
how you
do. I don't know. Is
adult?
it supposed to be adult? Ooh, that makes me feel uncomfortable. Adult.
How do you say process? Process?
No, just say process. Process
No,
works.
some people say process.
I think it's because I'm in Vancouver, so it's like I have that American influence down south that's really close. So it's like my Canadian is just like
I
all
grew up
over
in
the place.
Oregon, so I've been to Vancouver a couple times.
Oh, I speak Tagalog with a Canadian accent. So people wonder because I come from Cavite in the Philippines, and people are like, "No, that's not their accent. Your accent's not correct." And I'd be like,
Use
"Oh,
the correct bitch.
yeah." And I'm like, "But no," because the thing is, I can speak it. Like I'll speak it fluently, but then I have an accent when I speak it, and they wonder. They're like, because you know how different provinces have different dialects and everything. So there is a way to recognize where you're from based on how you speak. And
Yeah,
apparently how I speak reminds them of a different province. So not where the province I was born, but because I
yeah,
was raised.
yeah, dude, that's interesting. That's like the case with me in Mandarin. Like,
Yeah.
I sound like a northerner because I watch so much fucking TV.
ain't that ain't that the life?
Like,
Um
none of my parents are from there, and they're just
right?
they're like,
Oh,
no,
so back to the shenanigans about life. So because they were like that with me, that I would have the situation where, for example, if I ever get a scar, my dad would be like, because I would like try to learn how to ride a bike, and then I'd fall off the bike like a typical person,
oh, your dad.
and my dad would be like, "Let's take away the bike," and I'm like, "What? Why would you take away the no?"
SJ immigrant parents are so afraid of like pain in that regard. Like,
They were so traumatized. I'd say maybe trauma maybe is too strong of a word, but they were scarred a lot, like from their past, because they lived on like rice and salt as like dinner and breakfast. Like it was tough.
I think if there was an objective version of like PTSD, like that would be our parents. Like their psyches were very weathered.
Yes, yes.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I was saying earlier, they don't get that. They had to spiritually also leave things behind,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Like my mom sometimes talks in passing about how there's so much slang in China now that she doesn't get. Like she keeps
Oh.
on her WeChat like app. It's like adorable. Like she's on there constantly. Like her social, she like comes home from work from 7 to like 11, just stays on the couch, like looking at her like fucking tablet. I'm just like, this is so
Damn.
great. Like come on. I at least like I need my 4 hours of screen time. The spaces in between. But anyways, like my mom, I feel like I wouldn't fit in all the way. Like she and my dad are like, we literally can't go back. Like, we
Mm.
can't go back to our old country because it's been too long. But they never fit in here all the way
Oh,
either. So it's
yeah.
like, man, they don't even have a home anymore. You know, like, the old home's like gone, right?
But
Like,
you guys full on migrated here, like full on, like left
yeah,
everything. Like I still got family, like lots of family back home. Which by the way, I like dislike the idea of being connected to family because it made no sense to me. Like
yeah.
for me, I had to form this, like I had to create a family. I had to like, because I was raised by the village type. Like my parents growing, like raising me here, they had to work full time, both of them. So it's
Yeah.
really hard to raise a kid. Like you can't, and they didn't have enough money to leave him at a
How
daycare.
often do you go back to the homeland?
The motherland. I actually just came. Like I just came last year.
Oh, wow.
I
I
believe
haven't been
yeah,
back to China
last
in a decade.
yeah, last year I went back. I think last year was one of my favorite trips actually because as an adult you get to have a say now on what you want to do in the place. Everyone's very like. Well, back then, everyone's just like, I just want to stay at home and hang out with family. And I'm going, no, like, we didn't go to a tropical
Yeah,
country to
sweet.
sit on a stone, you know? Like, I want to go to a beach. I want to, like, go do something.
Yeah, like, what is this country even? Dude, my
Crystal,
mom,
all my people are like nines and twos and sixes,
oh
or
my
and a few ones. Like everyone's like really nice and very helpful and hospitable. I'm the only seven, so it's like I just get angry. Like no.
amazing. My mom is like, why would you want to go back to China? Because, like, she's like, explore somewhere new. Because, you know, now that she's older, she's trying to use more NE.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Like, go to South Korea or like go to Thailand or go somewhere. You've already been to China. And I'm like, okay, but China is different than the other countries. Did you realize that, right? Like, I have
Mhm.
family they've only seen like twice. I only have one conscious memory of my like night on my dad's side, my grandma, and that's like from like when I was 15. Like I saw her when I was like 3, and then when I was 15, I haven't seen her that much in general. I'm just like,
Do you talk to her often though?
no, I never talked to my grandparents or my cousins or anyone besides like, yeah, like, I just don't really talk to my extended family.
Oh.
Like, there was like no bond there because like my dad is like, you know, like he's like a fucking FP, right? Like he doesn't
Mhm.
like check in that often. But my mom's FE is just kind of like she talks to my grandpa on her dad more now because like he's like you know diabetic and like
Mm.
probably get some kind of disease soon. He's like 80. Between you and me though, she has major daddy issues. Like
Okay.
the thing is like I speak fluent enough Mandarin to like despite all the like conflicts with my mom understand her personality. Like there's never a language barrier necessarily. Like even when we were fighting, I will ask her to translate insults sometimes in English I don't get how to say in Chinese.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't
Mhm.
even know how bad her Chinese or how bad her English was until we went to the store. She couldn't like say certain words, and I was like, what's happened, Mom?" Because I like you know don't talk to her enough in English to know how bad it is now. Like she hasn't spoken English directly to me like in years, and this was even because she wanted me to speak Mandarin. It was because I felt uncomfortable speaking English to her, like because as a ENFP, right, I want to like go where someone's FI is, and her FI wanted to speak Chinese, so I just learned it. Versus my sister just speaks English half the time and doesn't have that good of Chinese.
Did you find yourself do you relate to the whole fact about trying to adapt because we don't really have, I guess, strong SE to force ourselves? Like we had to adapt because like people who had more power, let's say, were the dominant in our household. Like we had to like bide our time until we had to like be strong enough to fight back.
Honestly, I'm not sure because like no, I don't know because like okay, as a type 4, you don't have to keep in mind I'm type 4, right? So I'm not
Mhm.
like my individuality, so I just like incarnated as like a total selfish bitch. So like
Like
yeah,
fair enough.
I love that you're actually like you like
Yeah, I forgot about that. Because like I have a 3 fix. It's hard like for me to just do that. I had to like adapt. I had to always like I was told to be smart and be this type of person. Like they had an idea already on what it was.
yeah, they wanted to fucking create The Sims, and instead of turning to astrology to like give your kid a good birth chart, they just were like, "Let's
Yeah, they're just like, this is it. And I was like,
figure out ways to do that."
well, the thing is I couldn't win, right? Because they were all older. So I was like, okay, you know what? I will be that and I'm gonna destroy it. And then I want to show that I'm better.
I just learned how to like suck up and keep my mouth shut. I learned how to,
Oh, girl, that was like pummeled into me for years.
dude, like the family dynamic is I had one SJ parent. I had an ESFP dad. And the thing about my dad is he is not like an Asian patriarch at all. Like, okay, like for example, yesterday I put a Facebook status up, I love my dad with no context. And then like, oh, and I was like, oh wait, there's no context. Oh fuck, whatever. Who cares? I don't need. I don't know. Like it was like, what was on your mind? I'm like, man, I just fucking love my dad. And then Megan
I can see all the possibilities of that. It's just
and then Megan was like, oh, like what happened? Did you talk to your dad? Like, and then all the fucking tasers are like, why did she say that? But like, okay, like my dad though, like he is like my hero in a lot of ways, and like growing up I didn't appreciate him as much, but like I asked my mom, like, okay, because like the dynamic between my mom and my dad, which is funny because she asked me about this the other day. She was like, has my dynamic with your dad influenced your perception of love? Is this why you're single? She was like, the church aunties were like asking me about why you don't have a boyfriend yet. And they said that sometimes parental dynamics can influence that kind of thing. Is that true? Blah, blah. I'm like, wow, it's like your fucking church aunties like took like Psych 101 freshman year of high school. Finally.
I mean, it's always the parent.
I'm just like, excuse me, I'm like too stressed. I'm like, Mom, don't worry, I'm just really picky. Trust me. She's like, have you ever been rejected by someone? I'm like, yes and no. Like, it's hard to say.
I mean, it's like a normal. I mean, we all get rejected and accepted at some point.
Like,
like it's not like it's I don't know. Like, do you find it like painstaking? Like, I don't really find it.
No, like, but she asked me if I was rejected in the sense where I asked someone out and they said, I don't have feelings for you. Like, have you had unrequited love? And I was like, no, I haven't had unrequited love. It's just complicated. And she was like, I don't understand, but okay. I just hope that me and your dad didn't put any bad thoughts into your head. I'm like, well, you think about what you're thinking of. Like, the dynamic between like my ESFP dad and my ESFJ mom was my mom felt like she had to like fucking like take care of him and do all this. When little did she realize that through being social, a good person, and smart enough to like get by, but also not too like cunning for people to you know not underestimate him. Like he just like made his like luck. But whenever I say this, she's like, no, it was because I took care of him that we made it in the States. And I was like, yeah, the thing is like my dad like does like stocks, and my dad's like one of those people who's like super happy-go-lucky. Like I'll call me like Crystal, or like my Chinese name, don't your face, he's so young, like like that. He'll be like, oh, do you need me to send you money? Oh my gosh, when can I come visit you? Da da da. Oh my gosh, Opal's annoying the crap out of me. Da da da. Like that's how my dad talks to me. Like I'm like probably actually the more serious one between us two.
Oh
like,
wow.
I'd be like, Dad, you can't just fucking leave food in your car for like hours or some shit. Like
because they don't have SI, right? So just like
seriously, when I told my mom about SE and NI, she was like, that makes a lot of sense because your dad seemed like such a simpleton or whatever, right?
Imagine me trying to explain FI to my mom whenever my dad has FI moments as an ISTJ. He'll be like, leave me alone. Like, I just need to deal with myself. And like, he hangs out in his small little crib. Like, it's just chilling at. And I was like, no, he's not supposed to leave us. He's like this family head. Like this is
dad and FE mom. What a fucking mood.
And I had to sit with my mom and like coach her through the FI process that this is like a thing. Like this is normal. And she's like, no, we shouldn't have to do it. We need to talk it out.
Dude, okay, like you know that thing that like Heidi once tweeted where it was like, no, Heidi or Megan or one of them.
Okay.
Both, they were like, oh, like SFJs have such a bad rap because like SFJ moms, but they have FI about their kids. That's why they're fucked up toward them. They don't have to deal with the FI. But like my SFJ roommate's like fine. Like she's not a bitch. Like, you know, she doesn't like fucking try to mother me. Sometimes I'll like be scared she's going to because SFJ is living with me.
Yeah.
Like, like she's like, nope, like just do your thing. Like, and I'm like, oh, she's actually chill about that. So it is like SFJs is having FI and being totally nuts.
Yeah, I mean it's just funny to me because it's like when my mom when she goes, because she likes to talk through everything. Like I think with the SI too, it's so tough to like digest sometimes because it's always like, so let's start from the very beginning. Did we prepare? Right? Like, did we prepare to do this? Like, my dad's always like, it's easy with his TE. He's just like, just get it done. Like, you don't have to tell us. Like,
I know.
Like, I don't really feel a need to talk it out. But then she's like, no, we must talk it out as a family.
Oh my God, I relate.
And so I'm just like, here sitting down. I mean, granted, in sociology, like, I actually have good FE, you know, like it's ENFP. So I'm like sitting there going like, okay, so I know what she's talking about. I also want to understand. Like, I'm totally agreeing with my dad though, because his FI and I, like my dad's FI and I were like we're good.
We're
So,
so
like,
good. We're so good at seeing all sides. I'm just like, no, I just see what's going
like,
on.
no, I got that. I mean, you're both kind of correct. It's just bad timing. I think I just always found
Right?
that it's always
Yeah,
bad
like we're just like,
timing.
just do this, and then they don't take our advice. It's like, it took me a lot of effort to tell you to do
Okay,
that.
you know, I had to wait till I was an adult till they actually could accept my advice, because when I was a kid, I could see it.
It's like,
They
respect
never
your
took it.
elders. They shut the fuck up.
Exactly. They're like, no, you don't know anything. And I'm like, I've been observed. Like, I had nobody else but you guys to observe.
Right.
So I know, like, you live with a person 24/7. It's not like you're not gonna pick up something. I don't know. I feel like they just never realized that. Like, they just never thought that the kid
realize, yeah, like.
not to, here's the thing though, granted, not to like throw so much smack on our parents maybe, but like my mom's an ISFJ, so it's like there are situations where it can get tense in the house. But like what's crazy is that she was considered the black sheep in her family.
Oh my god, so funny.
Which is like crazy to like for, I don't know, for like everybody else out there, because everybody else, I think it was I thought she had a 2, but it's actually a 3 fix. I think that was really strong. Because like all her sisters would cook because they were all poor, right? So while her sisters were cooking, she was the woman working because their dad or my grandfather left them when they were like young. So like, and well, so my grandmother raised them like by herself, the great like type 1 that she is. The type, she was like a 1 or something, or a strong 2, I don't know. But like she raised all her, like she had 5 daughters and 2 brothers, or so like she had 4 other sisters and like 2 bros, and all of them, right? So she was the working one, and she had to like bring the dough for all of the people to like make it happen.
Get that bread.
Yeah, so she was the only one brave enough to go to the other country to get like to work it and like slave herself. And I'm going to use that term because she had so many horrible stories of people just abusing like her time, her energy. Like they would count how many times she uses a toilet paper, and they would blame her constantly for like here in Canada, like literally back then it was terrible like experience. So she has like a very, like what you said about weathered skin. Like my mom had like very tough skin. So when raising me, she was very tough as nails. Like
Yeah,
tough
it's funny
love.
'cause they're like not like the like fucking whining SFJs.
No, not at all. She was very like she's fun. She's like jovial, like all that good stuff. But like at home, if she wants something done, she'll let you know. And if it's like, if you can't explain it to her in a TI way, like she's gonna like criticize you.
My mom's the same. Like yeah, like it's like SFJ.
Right. Oh, by the way, another thing too, as polar TI as we are, like it's so triggering. So like I flex TE to fight back, and it triggers polar TE. So like me and my just becomes like a cycle of like death. I'm just fighting.
Dude, me and polar TE, oh, God, because I do get along with some FJs who like know TE exists, you know, because like they might have had like a TE friend or family member. People that don't accept how, you know, TE exists, it's just like, oh man, I don't know how else to get through to you.
Okay, I'm gonna say something a little bit like weird, but it's like, is it because like in Asia, like there's this, excuse me, like a concept or belief that like TE is very like the guy thing, and like FE is like the girl thing?
I think so, actually.
Like it's very gender divided. I don't know. There's a huge gender divide actually, and it's not like a division in terms of majority or minorities. It's just like in terms of like majority of women and majority of men tend to be very like defiant like that.
You know, I didn't thought about that because like, man, like my mom shamed the fuck out of me for like bad FE, but I keep thinking if I was a guy, maybe I'd be looked at as like an
as a guy, as a male in FP. Like this, I was born very like, everything is great, and I had to like, that had to be completely pummeled out of me because they're like, stop being gay, and I was like, I'm not even like, what, like this isn't even,
I'm not
like, I'm not even trying, like I don't understand like the whole big deal about it, because to me it's like, seriously, my mom like called me out when I was holding like a Barbie doll, but the thing is the entire time I was like, she's a superhero. Like I had ideals, and she saw me put in like a blue slipper, but I'm with any, I'm like, blue slipper equals the magical slipper that gives her the powers of the world. Like, I had like huge imagination. I saw it. She's like, stop touching your cousin's stuff. And she like went like all insane. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm just...
Oh my god. Ow, dude. My core hurts from like trying to do ab sit-ups yesterday and I can't move anymore. So stop saying funny things, Nick. No, not buying it.
This is the reality. My reality. It was like the thing is too now. It's like because I broke it broke me. Well, I snapped basically. Like I didn't because I was observing everybody else around me, and like no one was as strict as my mom. Like everybody was like chill to some extent, and because growing up by the village, like being raised by the village type, like I got along with literally everybody who was like. So if I were like 10, everybody was like 30s or like early 20s. So like all of those people now are all like good friends with me. Like they all know me. So like I've absorbed like perspectives from all kinds of different personalities.
I feel that.
Right. And then so to the point where when I hit my teens, whenever my mom would like argue with me or like give me these rules, like I couldn't fully agree because I had a perspective from somebody else that directly challenged her TI.
Yes, as an ENFP, we were gathering that fucking
Exactly.
shit.
So like I fought back, and I don't know about other ENFPs out there, and I don't know if you guys are still watching. Like I don't even know how long we have. Like I don't even know how long this has been. Like
9:30ish, so maybe like 10 more minutes. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, like what I mean is like with us ENFPs, like with me at least, like when I fought back, I was like, you know what? Like I am gonna be the best because she was worried, like always worried that I wasn't gonna do anything correct. And the thing
Oh
is,
my god, I know that feeling, man.
but the thing is, I had that feeling with myself too because I knew I was in a disadvantage to people around me because like everybody was just like making money, getting jobs, doing this, and then like I was busy drawing. I'm like chilling here, like making things like sort of happen. But then like I had this click where I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of being told that I can't do what I needed to do. I'm tired of being told that I'm always a terrible person. Granted, like I love my mom, like it's just a tough love aspect. But because I wasn't proving myself to myself, like the FI was just repressed and repressed and repressed to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna lash out with TE on everybody around me, and I'm just gonna like prove it and just like make it happen. So like, I don't know, just became like this angry person.
Dude, I feel you, especially as a guy with so much pressure to like be more manly.
You know what's crazy though? Like I found that despite the fact that I had certain things about me that people called effeminate, like I have watched myself like beat out guys all the time in situations that they considered manly men. Like I took on handyman jobs, Crystal. I worked as a fire inspector technician.
Okay, Nate, just come to LA and just like fucking like help me with my life. Like
right? Like to the point where I just told myself, you know what, let's just
out.
dive in, right? Like just dive in and experience it. Even though I had 0 SE or like no good SE, I was like, I'm gonna jump in. I don't care. If I fail, then I fail. Like that's just how it's gonna be.
Figuring things out, but I am different. I have like so much trauma around the sensory world because like, yeah, I just took it as more of a sign that I'm too special to like know how to like fucking figure out.
Well, what's crazy, Crystal, is that at least I have you to like help me with my FI because my FI is like really bad. Like,
I feel that way.
Because like I always tell people, I'm like, I don't really like I have these feelings, but I can actually but I can push my feelings aside. Like I was telling this one girl like on Snapchat, like she was like a good friend of mine. I was like, by the way, I'm really pissed off about this other person, but we don't have to care about that. We can talk about something else. And she's like, no, I care about all of our feelings. I'm like, you don't have to care about mine.
I'm pretty good at like, as you know, as from being my friend, I've been like really considering the idea of like kind of going more into like life coaching or something like that, right? But like I fucking hate, because my thing with life coaching is like a lot of it's very SE dominant, right? It's being like, you can create your ideal life of what? And I'm just like,
I was watching a Type 7 motivational speaker, and he was just like, literally that vibe. I feel like he is probably an ESFP or something, and I'm going like,
yeah, dude, like they literally like, you can get your dream life, and I'm like,
live, and I'm going,
and like, okay, here's the thing, I do believe the law of attraction, you know, and like, but also I'm an ENFP, and like we NEsers don't have the physical force to like get there.
No,
you know,
we do not.
Like y'all are like the idea is that when you want to manifest something at all costs, nothing will stop you.
Yeah.
And SE is really fucking pushy, and it's really hard to be around SE users when you're an NE user, right? So
you either have to like adapt or like fight back, and then like hope they don't punch you because it's like,
oh my god,
I'm not good at that, so I have to like manipulate my way.
Yeah, the law of attraction is like a very like SETE thing, in my opinion. You can't nitpick it too hard,
and you can't like use triggering memories to like sabotage yourself, which is the reason why when people say they can't manifest things, I always know it's because of the subconscious, probably SI and NI trauma, right?
Mm.
So I'm like an expert in like understanding why people can't do it. So I don't want to like force them to do something that they might not be ready for. Like
I think it's very P of us. Like, it's very perceiver type. Like, we don't tell people what to do.
yeah, like my SFJ roommate was asking me like what I do when I manifest something, and I was like, I never asked for anything that specific. That's what I realized recently. Like, I try to manifest things by asking for a feeling. I've been like, universe, like, give me the feeling of security and love that I need. And I'm like, however the fuck you want to give that to me, I don't care. Like, I don't fucking know if a partner's going to be that great.
We're not specific in that sense at all.
Yeah,
You know, I just realized working with SJs, like even as because my best friend's an ESFJ, like just even if I don't fully have the specificities, like if I don't really care about it as much, even with my parents too, like if I don't even care as much about the specifics of anything, I will say it anyway, like whatever it is, and then have that argument that ensues, like, or maybe there's a discussion afterwards because it's what they want. And to me, get you off my back, like let's have that instead. Like I've always got, like, I mean, I don't mind the argument, like I love it. It's just that like sometimes if it's an unproductive argument, it's kind of pointless. So might as well just give them the discussion that they want. And I'm going, yeah, I can do that. But then when they ask me something, I'm going to give them the whole, like, by the way, I hope you guys understand, like, when you guys ask of me, it's not hard. But note that I will never ask of you because I personally feel like I can just do it myself. Like, I really don't need, like, I don't need, like, people would be like, oh, we're going to help you on your big day or whatever. And I'm like, I don't ask for much. Like, that's actually a thing. Like, and if I do, it's probably a little too much. And I'd probably just not do that. And I'm...
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that manifestation I'm talking about is like, I don't ask for specifics because like I don't think I really know what I want. Like people always are like, what, but you're an ENFP type 4, like how do you not know what I want? I'm like, I feel like to want something is almost kind of TI at times. To me, to
have the reasons with what you want, right?
I'm like,
yeah,
I just want specific feelings. Like I want all my needs to be taken care of. What those needs are, sometimes I don't even know all the way. But if I become aware of one, I'll be like, universe, please take care of this. Like, okay, like an example I use frequently is like, I'm a manifesting coach, and like a lot of the advice I like listen to, I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. But like this ENTJ manifesting coach was like, okay, let's say that like someone wants to manifest money. Why do they want to manifest money? They have a lot of debt. But really, money is the mechanism through which they would want to get the feeling of being debt free. What if someone just came in and was like, we're just going to forgive all your debt? Would you still want the money then? Like being open to the possibility of just the debt free feeling coming through any specific way is the best way to manifest it. I'm like, that makes sense because like that would explain why I haven't manifested a boyfriend, because I realized the other day, like, because like I've been talking more to S users and they're like, just think about your dream life and what you want. And I'm like, I'm already living my dream life. You know, like, sure, I'm not like a successful freelancer yet. I don't have like a loving boyfriend yet, but like, I also don't feel like I should have those things now. Like when whatever I want to feel like I earned it, right?
Yes.
On the way to like sustain and keep it, then like so be it. So for
It's
me,
funny
I was like,
it's funny you say that because like I've had people be like, what are your dreams? Like, what do you dream of? I'm like, sorry, I'm an adult. I'm already living my dream. Like I'm working on making that happen. Like I don't understand like when people talk about like things like, oh, what do you want in life? What do you do this? I'm like, it's hard because I don't know what it's like to be in the moment. So it's like,
yeah, I think everyone with more SE than us has an idea of what they want.
And they can make it happen, but I'm like, I don't actually know what it's like. Like, it's so easy for me to tune out and like dream. So I'm like, all right, that's why right now it's more so I'm working on strengthening the thread of the connection to my reality.
I just remember when I was a kid, like I wanted friends because I had no friends, and I was like fucking suicidal and like bad shit, right? And years later now, people say that I'm like one of the most popular people they know, and to me, it's just like, well, that took a long time to like manifest, but that was like one of my strongest desires. I also wanted to be like a writer, and like, you know, not as successful of a writer as I want to be. I also feel like I don't feel entitled to the idea that I should have it now or when. I just want to have faith that every day I'm working toward it, and whenever it happens, it will happen, right? And also with
Funny,
like,
'cause I had a similar take on that because like with me, my desire was to never be worthless and to like always never be afraid. Like those two things. And like I thought it would manifest in a way like I would be this like really strong person, probably goes in the gym like so many times in a week.
oh
That's
my
not
gosh,
exactly how it happened because that's not my reality. But at the same time, like when people would tell me or something, they'll like come up and be like, "You're actually really strong. Like you resilient. Like you handle situation." And I always never really get it because I'm like, "But I'm just living. Like I don't really see what."
I think that too.
Right, like I don't really care like what it is. I just go for it. But then like they would describe things to me like with their TI and it starts to like manifest. I guess like it starts to finally make sense because like there are situations where when things do go down, I'm one of the first persons in like the front lines ready for war. Even though I'm not the strongest person, for some reason in those moments I am. Like there's this time where it's like, oh, do you want like I could never I could always handle talking to bosses and other people couldn't. You know, even if they had good SC or something, they'd be willing to challenge and fight right away. But with me, it's like I can look at them in the eye and be like, what did you want? Did you this is what you needed? How are you like that? Like I always found myself drawn to powerful figures, not because I relied on them, but because they relied on me to continue being strong. And it's like a weird dynamic that I've found because of my inner desire that I did, like my, I guess my FI was just like, I just wanted to be this person. And this is what I believed that to be the best. And it just somehow everything just seems to be lining up for that. I mean, look, I found Kat, I found Megan, I found you. I'm finding, like, I found Katie or Madame Kid. Like, everybody is just, like, really strong personalities, but they never found a problem with me because, like, I just never felt intimidated by these people. Like, they've been vulnerable, and that's fine to be vulnerable because you're allowed to feel. But, like, I don't understand people scared of authority figures because it's like, if you want me to serve you, I can give you what you want. But if I can't give you what you want, that's too bad. That's where the line is drawn. I've done that to type 8s before. I'm like, I can do anything you want me to do. But if I can't, that's when I say no. Are you fine with that? Because when you ask for more is when I'm going to say no. And then they're like, okay, they're like, prove it or something because they're 8s, right? They're like, prove it, make it happen. And I do.
Like boundaries in that regard too. It's like, no. And I think, like, I feel like I answer only to the universe. That sounds
very Dirk Gently. I don't know if you've watched that show. It's very like I'm interconnected with the universe.
What show?
Dirk Gently. Have you heard of the Holistic Agency? No. Watch it. It's very Annie.
Is it a fiction show or a reality show or what?
It's a TV show. Actually, it's on Netflix. Actually, I think you can probably grab some few episodes somewhere out there. But it's
Wait,
it's
how do you spell it again?
Dirk Gently. I can message you about it in the DMs, like what it is.
Interesting. I don't think I've heard about this show.
Oh, okay. But it's about a few folks. Like the premise is there's this guy who his name is Dirk Gently, who claims that he's super connected to the universe's desire of to correct the proper flow of time and space. So he does this not in a very sci-fi way. He does it in a way that like how
Elijah Wood. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, how domino effects
Elijah
one end to another.
I haven't thought about him in so long.
Yeah, dude, it's actually really insane. I thought like the show was like when I first watched it, I'm going, oh, I'm into it. I'm not gonna stop. This is gonna happen. My type 7 vice kicks in. Binge. We are binging tonight.
I don't drink a lot of alcohol. I don't like do almost any drugs, and I also don't watch enough TV. So I'm just like, well, shit, I'm behind.
No, it's fine. It's okay. There's a lot of vices I collect, but you don't have to do any of them. I mean, I'm actually personally scared to do any drugs, actually. Like, I actually am afraid.
My own brain's already so drugged out.
Exactly. You know? Like, I was trying to explain this to an ISTP, and he, like, called me out. Like, you don't get it. And I'm like, I don't kind of want to get it.
I live every day on acid.
Yes, yeah, and then they're like, no, you can't. That's not how your perception works. And I'm like,
ISTP is trying to convince him NE exists. It's like, okay.
Well, he's polar NE, so like I trigger him, right? And then he triggers me, so there's going to be like that situation. I have to actually make a video on that, like conflictors.
Oh my god, I know how you feel.
Because I fight with like one of my friends is an ISTP, and like we have this unspoken thing where we look at each other, we're like, no, you're gonna fight with me, I'm gonna fight back.
Dude, that's like me and my STP friend too. I'm like, don't come for me.
Like we're gonna do it. Like it's just gonna get really angry and messy.
Funny though, because like so many STP guys who like try to get me at first, then realize like, oh wait, she's like
she's crazy.
And then I become their life coach instead. But some STP guys haven't caught on yet because they haven't found someone better, and I'm like, there are so many women better for you than me. Trust me.
Is it funny? I tell that to like a lot of girls too. I'd be like, "Are you sure you can handle?" Like, I'm not saying that I'm like,
are you sure you can handle?
Powerful, but I'm like, are you sure you can handle the energy I bring to a room? Because I'm really loud. Like, I wake up happy. I'm a morning person. You know, I'm a morning person. I like.
No, I'm gonna like call you when I'm doing my morning routine, and you can be like, "Are you eating breakfast?" No.
Seriously, if I'm tired, just tell me something. Be like, Nate, what's your opinion on like the secret of the universe? I'd be like.
You'll be like, drifting up. Listen, bitch.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'm awake. I was like, well, yeah, exactly, because those things charge me up. Charge me up. Like if I wake up and someone's like angry at me, I'm like, oh, thank you for this beautiful injection of caffeine.
I like wonder who's like still gonna be watching this because like low-key, some of the NFJs who are fans of us were like, well, a video with Crystal and Nate, 2 ENFPs. I'm like, I don't think they can handle this.
We need to have another one. I don't know. Do you want it more structure or do I keep it like flowy?
No, we're just going to keep because I guarantee you there's too many people who are too anthropologically interested in the brain of an ENFP to not watch this.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, by the way, I don't know if you, before we end it, like I think my last little tidbit of this is I actually get really uncomfortable seeing 2 NJs like talk to each other. Like their NI is very uncomfortable for me. I don't know what it is. They're always, I feel like maybe from my perception, I feel like they're just constantly predicting each other what they're about to say and then getting it right. And I'm going like, it's like when 2 telepaths trying to like talk to each other. That's basically like there's so much context missing in the actual conversation.
Relationship, yeah.
Right, and me with any, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm how like expand and fill in all the gaps that I'm missing, but then I'd be wrong.
Dude, let me tell you though, like as I develop better NI from hanging out with NI users and just like doing tarot readings and stuff, like getting things right freaks me the fuck out as an ENFP because I can see more. Like the average NJ is like, oh, well, all that was in my brain was what they were thinking. But like, I'm like, I can see every other thing that they weren't thinking and what they're thinking. An E-user, right?
Or like, they're like, overthinking is hard, or overthinking is like, you should, and I'm like,
underthinking is hard. Like, sitting there not doing something.
Yeah, like my face, I'm just like, have you met an NE dom? Like, we don't stop thinking. It sucks.
I was thinking though that like the reason I never have energy to do anything for myself is because like I have at least 4 to 5 intuitive conversations, like deep ones.
Because we're locked. Yeah, we're trapped in our NE.
I go so deep into someone's psyche. If it's like wrong that I can't come out, and then they tip me, and I'm like, okay. Like Nate, I was doing tarot readings at this DJ event, and like they gave me like an upfront vending fee.
Okay.
So I did like discounted readings.
Okay.
So and like they were free, but like what I did was I would put like just a donation of $5 to $10 like on a sign.
Oh.
Like, oh, if it's good, give me money, and I made $150 that night off donations.
Like Lexus TE.
In 2 hours, and I was just like, that was more than my upfront fee, man. Like I made about as much money as I would at a regular event. And I'm like, nice, because people were just all like blown away by the stuff my NE like come up with.
That's, oh my gosh, I have so much to say about that because people apparently been complimenting like, wow, NE is so good at being accurate, and I'm like,
is it?
Is it though? It's like I never expect to be right. Like I really hope I'm not right actually. Like I'd rather, I'm like. I don't know, I follow what you're doing. I'm following the flow of the universe and see where that takes me. Apparently it takes me somewhere good.
Yeah, dude. Like for me, like, okay, like I don't know if I've ever talked to you about tarot readings, but to me it's like, so the way tarot works just real fast is like you have like 4 suits and like a bunch of other face cards, like in playing cards, but they represent the psyche. So you can pair it to like Myers-Briggs if you want. Like
if you
thinking, intuition, and sensing pair with certain suits, and each card means like a specific thing. So there's like 72 of them. So then what I do is I pull up the person's birth chart in astrology, and I look at their like what is it? Like I look at their like whoops. I look at their placement, and I look at the elements and pair them with like the, you know, intuition, feeling, whatever, and then I look at the cards and I do all this in real time, and I kind of like from talking to them kind of guess what functions they might be using, like if it's like an ST, like the ST astrological placements, the ST cards I pulled, and all at once I'll just start saying shit, right? And when I explain it to people, they're still like in awe because I just think I just leaked the secret.
This is definitely why I say like NE is like the kinesthetic learning style, but for intuitives.
Yeah.
Because it's like we're very hands-on with our ideas.
Yeah, like I was like, you know, explaining it to someone, and they were still.
You've been hithered, girl. You've been hithered.
Yeah. No, but seriously, I was just like, I wonder. I was like, just like, why is this so weird to you guys? I was like, oh, it's NE, because to me it was like talking about Tetris. It was like intuitive Tetris. Like it's like, here are all these cards, here are all these things that they represent, here's your personality, here's the placements, blah blah blah. And they were just like, how did you do that? Oh my god, I'm so mind blown. And I'm like, and like, you just
it's just
my life. And I'm like, I mean, part of it is like the cards I pulled through, the universe was like, you know, telling me which ones. But also sometimes like, dude, sometimes I go free form without the cards and I just like start saying random ass shit. I look at some of my love life, I look at their Venus sign, I look at their like personality, and I look at like 2 cards and I just say something random and it's like accurate. But it's like accurate insofar as like it's the ballpark, right, of like the realm that they should be working on. You can't get too specific.
I think I talked about that before, because it's like with our NE, because it's infinite, like we have so much,
Yeah.
we just fill in gaps. Like we fill it in, like, you know how if you have like a whole bunch of cups out there and you have like you have the ocean, so you just start filling each cup till it's full. Right? And it's like we're constantly learning at the same time, because as we fill in all this stuff, we'll eventually.
Yeah, like when I say stuff, like it's like when you have like boogers and your nose is running, it just won't stop running. It's like how my NE feels. I'm just like, damn, I'm trying to stop the flow.
This is very real for me because I am sick. So it's like, girl, Snotzilla was like last week.
I have so much snot in my body is like how I feel.
Oh. It's not in my body.
And see, that's the thing. Like, I never get nervous when I do tarot bending, and some people do, and I'm just like, I'm more nervous about the financial aspects of like bookkeeping.
Oh, I actually, it's fun because when I did that whole little thread on Twitter about the avatar thing, like with the elements, like I wasn't scared when I was writing it. I was more so worried about, like, I guess the aftermath, maybe the FE impact that was gonna do, because I don't really know if I'm gonna be right. But at the same time, I gave them the disclaimer. I'm like, if you feel read by me, you know, that's your fault. Just flow that responsibility out.
No responsibility for the consequences.
Throw them. I'm like, because I'm gonna speak my mind, and you tell me if I'm wrong. That's.
And then when it's like, it's so right, they want you to be there and do like fucking like consult.
And everybody's like showing up. They're like, oh, can you do me? Can you do my element? And I'm like, I don't know you that well. If I don't know you that well, it's like instead of having so many little cups filled with details, I'm gonna have buckets to fill up. I'm gonna be so much more inaccurate then.
Yeah.
It'd be worse because the bucket's huge. So if I fill that up, it's gonna take me a while. There's so much, like, you know, to wait. I have to like chunk it, you know, put it into pieces first.
Yeah, dude, like NPs though, like they ask me, they ask me about this like tarot reading thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, the thing is, you can start reading for people you've never met or talked to once your SI is strong enough about like that archetype of person.
Yeah.
Where you can pull it out, like you can separate the SI and apply it.
Yes. Because
yeah,
I don't know what your background is, but like I was watching so much like sci-fi, TV drama, trash talk TV, you know, daytime TV and stuff. Like I've been watching so many personalities that like I don't know, I'm not as good, I think, at honing in on the term right away. Like I think you're better than that than I am. Plus FI game is stronger for you.
I think it is like my FI. You know how like NFJs talk about how when they type is how the person makes them feel. I think NFPs do the same where they assume everyone has FI because they can see it in everyone. But I think I've become better at like knowing how, maybe it's like subconscious FETI, knowing how I react to like certain types. So if someone starts looking at me confusedly, then I'm like, must have a function that's not mine. So I go like deductive reasoning type. Like I go, okay, wait, this person didn't respond to my FI very well by just saying something knowledgeable, like a TE would, therefore they're not an FI user. So I go like that. Like I look at how the physical reaction to me is. And like someone's NE seems like you know what I mean? So I look for like the opposite first. So like instead of looking at if I relate to them, because of course I'm not relate to everyone. I go, what do they not relate about? And then like for me, I think like maybe with reading strangers has become more of an NI thing, to where I'll hypothesize something about if they're this type and then look to see if it adds to their energy, because SE users will just like look more alert, like they'll look like sharp. And also the questions people ask when they're doing tarot readings, they'll be like, am I on the right path? And I'm like, no fucking end user would ask that. Like, that's an automatic.
They don't care.
And then because I know the specific problems that an ESTP Capricorn would like struggle with, once I've kind of identified that also helps me build my ability to say them. So people will just not say anything, just be like, how did you know my life? I didn't even tell you anything. I'm like, you told me your birth chart, see? And they're like, this means nothing to me, Crystal. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
like,
we're I don't know, is it extrapolating is the word? We're drawing more.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's extrapolating. But also I think because I play with the inverse of reality, I don't try to look at what something is. I look at what it isn't, because that gives me more insight.
Yep. I agree.
Have you ever read Blink?
My mom would be like amazed apparently, because like I don't have to study for like when I do readings or anything, like any kind of like readings, like articles or something, and then we're gonna quiz up like do meetings where we talk about what we've read or something. She's amazed that apparently I don't have to read it.
Yeah.
I'll just sit there and they're like, did you study? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why didn't you study? Like, study. And I'm like, okay, I'll briefly skim it. She's like, oh, you're so stupid. So I'll like briefly skim it. And then when it comes to the answer, and I like put up my hand, I'm about to answer, I'll like draw out this elaborate like about this one paragraph. And she's like, it's so profound. Like, where are you getting this? And I'm like,
psychic bitch.
Like, I'm not really psychic. It's just I'm connecting pieces I've already learned in the past with what I just read in that paragraph. 1 + 1 = 2, divided by 3 does the, like, it's really just, I don't know, it's like mental math without the numbers. It's just symbols.
Dude, have you ever read Blink by Malcolm Gladwell?
No.
Have you heard of it? I think you should read it, because it's all about like how deltas extrapolate things all the time. Like, he talks about this relationship psychologist this relationship psychologist, he like listened to like maybe a few minutes of audio between like certain like couples, and he predicted whether they'd be divorced in 10 years or not, and he had like 98% accuracy. And people were like, what? But then I was like, I can do that.
Well, if you didn't like take their advice to fix something, you're likely gonna follow the pattern until you die, right?
No, but like also like because he was listening to like how they talk to each other, and he could like basically gauge the strength of their compatibility.
Yes, because if they needed to be more compatible, they needed to work on it. They had to do some sort of change.
Yeah, because like to me, I look at what is the first thing you guys talk about when you're in a test setting? Is it something deep or not? And if it's not, then your bond will probably not make it. Like, I look for what's not there, which is the intimacy thing, and I look for like the way of
some SX stuff that's like as hard for me.
Oh, I realize this is out of your depth, dude. I'll teach you, don't worry. But like for me, I'm like,
oh, okay.
If I tune in, if someone thinks to ask me, do you think they're close? I can tune in and be like, I think he doesn't like her, but I don't know where I'm getting that from. So it's like
maybe that's why I'm having so much trouble with it, because I'm not strong SX.
I think it's my weird latent like NI and FE combined with my NE and FI ability to like look out there, because it's like NFJs don't do that exactly either. Maybe because they're on TE. Yeah, my computer's about to die, and I actually have to leave to go to my appointment.
I know we have to end this at some point. But by the way, it's actually we should do this more often,
I'm
because
just saying,
like
start like putting up like the E.
We're awake now. Like, we're wide awake.
I was about to go nap again. I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen. Oh
yeah, no. Anyways, thank you for being here, Crystal. It's all good, all good in the hood with me. I don't know if they can find you on Megan's channel, maybe.
I mean, I have a YouTube channel. I just don't really do much on it.
Do you want me to link it to? I can probably link it for you as well.
I guess.
I'll just do like you need to like I would say to anybody watching, like you need to listen more to this chick, because she has insights that will rock your world.
My psychic brother.
Psychic, yes. Because it's like, I don't know, like she calls me as having like great SI or whatever, but I'm like, with my terrible FI, I'm always like, wow.
I developed my SI because I was like, ooh, this is going to be a way for me to get better NE, and it has worked, but also brought a lot of childhood traumas where I'm like, shit.
And we don't talk it in a way that's like traumatizing, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just not, it doesn't hurt.
I
Evan, I'm like, let's keep it light.
Dude, talking to an ENFP male that's not problematic is great. But okay, we'll talk soon.
That's another one. That's another topic. Like other ENFP males.
Oh my god, let's tackle this was like a hodgepodge of a variety of things, but I feel like it's centered around the theme of like SI, you know? Like
I guess I
think like out of everything, the thing that kept coming up was our talking about like how SI and whatever. It was a good talk, whatever.
we'll get to it actually, because you know how with our and we're just like connecting everything to each other.
It's fine. Our FI talk about what it wants to talk about.
Exactly. So anyways, thank you everybody, you know, out there watching. I hope you have a good day, Crystal, by the way, and to everybody else too.
I will try to eat breakfast.
Girl, eat breakfast. What do you mean you'll try? Eat something.
Oh my god, okay. There is no try. Dash. All right, bye.
Okay, you guys.